this one definitely pongs. Shadows, are they not good enough to eat? My tummy is rumbling like mad. It probably needs some breakfast. Oh, I've forgotten. That's Velvet Muse. This is Velvet something else. In this video, I'm going to talk you through my summer beauty faves and fails for 2023. Hello and welcome to my channel, or welcome back. My name's Des. I'm a nearly 70-year-old woman who loves to talk about beauty, fashion and lifestyle. So fasten your seatbelts, it's going to be a bumpy or rather long ride. So let's start with skincare, and we're going to start with some SPFs. Now I know in the States you have slightly different rules about SPFs, but I am going to link products that you're able to get that are similar to the ones I'm able to get here in the UK down below in the description box. Now the first one is a completely new to me brand actually. It's called Ultrasun, and this is the one that I have. It's an SPF 50, and this was recommended to me by a work colleague quite recently actually, a couple of months ago. And I was really amazed because I thought, oh, it'll be difficult to find, but as soon as I googled it, there it was all over the show. And I really like this. This is a milk, so it's a little bit different to ones that I've used in the past, which tend to be more creamy. Let me just show you a tiny bit. It's not as runny as, well, it is runny, as you can see, so it is definitely more like a milk than a cream. Now it does leave a very slight white cast to begin with, but it soon disappears, and actually is disappearing as I speak. So actually it may depend on the texture of your skin, but it doesn't peel under makeup. It's very comfortable to use. It's completely unfragranced, as are all the products that I mentioned in this video. And it doesn't smell of anything like some SPFs do smell, even though they don't have a fragrance. They have something sort of unpleasant in it, and we'll come to that a bit later. But I really love this SPF, and I'm really delighted to have found it. Now I have another one which I'm also very pleased to have found, and that is the Cetaphyl or Cetaphyl Daily Defense Moisturizer SPF 50. Now, by the way, I don't wear a moisturizer. My skin is normal. It's not dry, it's not oily. Well, it does get a bit dry around here, but it's not super dry, and in the winter I don't really need an extra moisturizer either. Now this one is more of a cream, and it's very slightly yellowy, as you can see, but I don't think that means anything particular. Now this one does leave more of a white cast. It does take a little bit more time to disappear, but I tend to put my SPF on, then go and do something else before I put my makeup on anyway. But I think if you probably gave it 10 minutes or so, that would be fine. Now it's a bit stickier because it's thicker than the Ultrasun, but again, it doesn't peel under makeup. I mean, you can see that's sort of clear now. This one isn't quite clear yet, but it will be soon. And they are both really good and both reasonably priced as well, both drugstore SPFs. Now I'm going to talk about a couple of SPFs which I reviewed last year, and I did a very thorough review on SPFs, which I can also link down below, where I went through how much they cost and what was available in the States as compared to here and all of that, a real deep dive. And I did find two very reasonably priced ones, and these were the Ambre Solaire SPF 50, this one here, and also this Bondi Sands, which is the absolute cheapest of all. I have to say I've gone off them both actually. Now it may be that they're both old now, they're over a year old, but this one definitely pongs. I can't tell you what the pong is exactly. It's just, ooh, blimey, there was a bit left. It's kind of like a chemical smell. It's just very unattractive. So definitely don't recommend this one unless you particularly want a cheap SPF, but that's meant to be for your face. And to be honest, at our age, if we can afford it, shouldn't we spend a little bit more on our faces than we do on our bodies, perhaps? I don't know. Anyway, not recommending that one. This one's okay. Again, it's a cream. It's all right. It doesn't, well, no, it doesn't really have a smell. I can't say that it does. It goes on okay. It was all right. I think it started to peel under makeup as well. So again, not recommending this one. I think if you can afford it, go for the Ultrasun or the Cetaphyl. And also to mention a couple of, again, not exactly fails, but things that I'm not reaching for that I'm probably going to declutter or chuck, actually, to be honest, because they're over a year old. One is the Clinique Moisture Surge, which is a sort of tinted moisturizer. In fact, it is a tinted moisturizer. And the other one is the Beauty Pie Sheer Tinted Oil-Free SPF 20. Now, I'm not using SPFs under 50 anyway now, but I've just kind of gone off the idea of a tinted moisturiser. I'd rather wear, or a tinted moisturiser with an SPF, I would rather wear my SPF and then maybe some kind of skin tint on the top. So I'm not going to recommend these. They were okay if you're after a tinted moisturiser with an SPF, but I wouldn't recommend it at our age. I think we ought to be wearing a dedicated SPF. Now, another couple of skincare products I want to talk about. One is a fave and one is kind of a fail. Now, this is the fail. This is a CeraVe cleansing oil, or it's a hydrating foaming oil cleanser. Now, this is half a bottle and I probably will use it up, but I'm coming to the end of my sort of fondness for CeraVe at the moment, and particularly this oil. I've kind of gone off using oils anyway, and I don't like the fact that it foams. It doesn't seem to attack the makeup and get it off in the way that I would like. It's not like a balm, and I think I'm leaning more towards cleansing balms than I am cleansing oils. So I wouldn't recommend this one unless you particularly love an oil, and a foaming oil at that. But what I would recommend is this Paula's Choice 25% AHA plus 2% BHA exfoliator, and it's an exfoliating mask, and I'm using this twice a week and absolutely loving it. Now, it is a bit scary. It looks rather sort of metallic and grey when you put it on. Let me just show you what I mean. So you don't need a huge amount. That's what it looks like, and you think, oh my lord, what on earth am I putting on my skin? But it really does exfoliate extremely well. Now, I have dry patches around, actually does, I should have said it's got a bit of a weird scent as well, but it's not fragrance. None of Paula's Choice's products are fragrance, so they're ideal for my skin because I'm allergic to anything with fragrance in it. I just get seborrheic dermatitis. But this really does exfoliate, and it particularly does well around here and here where I get very dry patches, and I use this twice a week. I leave it on for about half an hour and it absolutely does the business, and I can highly recommend it. Okay, we've talked about skincare. Now let's go on to makeup. And I'm going to start with these two gorgeous eye palettes from NYX, and these are very much drugstore. They are absolutely fantastic palettes. The pigments are amazing. The shade ranges are lovely. They are reasonably priced, and I'm going to swatch a few for you because I absolutely love them. Now, this one is called, this is Ultimate Queen. I mean, look at these gorgeous shadows. Are they not good enough to eat? Let me just swatch a few for you. And I particularly love this one because it's got black, which is one of my favourite colours to use on my eyes. But let me just show you what I mean by the pigments. So let's go, I mean, I won't go with the black because I know it's not everybody's cup of tea. But let me show you this purple, for example. I mean, look at that. It's amazing. Okay, let's go for a slightly lighter one. Let's go for this sort of maroon colour here. Absolutely gorgeous. And then let's take a lighter colour. Let's take this orange, which I probably wouldn't wear myself, but if you have warmer skin, you might. I mean, look, isn't that fabulous? And let me show you the other palette as well. So this one is slightly cooler toned. So you can see it's got a sort of purpley colour. It's got a cooler brown, for example. So let me just show you those. So here's the purple. Sorry, my tummy is rumbling like mad. It probably needs some breakfast. There's the purple. It's probably not coming out as well as it is on my finger. I think it's because I've got the SPF on there. Let me show you this colour here. This is a sort of another maroony colour. Look at that. Oh yeah, look at that pigment. It's amazing, isn't it? And then let's try a lighter one. Let's try this sort of beigey toned colour. Again, the pigment is fabulous, although actually maybe it's not, I don't know, it is sort of showing up a bit paler. But I am so impressed with these palettes, and they are reasonably priced. I bought them from Amazon. They are absolutely fantastic. And by the way, let me just mention that all the products I talk about will be listed and linked below. Some of these products are affiliate links, or rather some of the links are affiliate links. And that means I'll get a very small commission if you decide to use the link to purchase the product at no extra cost to you. But obviously it does help support my little channel. And I thank you very much in advance if you do choose to do that. But anyway, I absolutely love these palettes. And if you're looking for a pigmented palette with lots of colours, then I think you can't go wrong with one of these. Now let's touch on concealers, and I have mentioned this before in my viewer suggested products, so I won't go on and on about it, but it's the High Glam Concealer by Natasha Denona. Absolutely fantastic concealer, lovely and light, best applied for me anyway from the back of my hand and then under my eyes, but I absolutely love it. And it is very much the sort of high-end version of the IRL Revolution concealer, I would say, and I love it. And this one, this It Cosmetics Bye Bye Under Eye, I'm not going to say it's a fail exactly, but it's not a concealer that I'm reaching for at the moment. I'm finding it too thick and maybe I need to play about with it a little bit more. But I'd perhaps say maybe don't buy this if you don't want a thick concealer, but if you've got blemishes, then maybe it's something that you might want to consider. Now let's talk about mascaras, and again, I won't go on and on about this fantastic Faux Cils mascara by Chantecaille because it's in the viewer suggested products review video, and I'll link that down below for you. But I also want to mention this Maybelline Sky High mascara. Now this, I think this is the non-waterproof, and it's one of those rubbery brushes which I really like when I want to sort of lift and separate my lashes rather than have the va-va-voom. So this lifts, separates and lengthens, and it is a really great drugstore mascara. I think it's absolutely fantastic and highly recommend it if you want something for daytime, I would say. And just before we get on to lipsticks, I want to talk about the Hourglass Tinted Veil Skin Tint, and I did a video about this. Now I want to revise my opinion of it. I think it's really great, and I want to tell you that I've started applying it with my fingers. Now I said I couldn't apply it with my fingers before because it seemed to sort of go everywhere and didn't really go on my skin, but actually I've revised my opinion and I followed the instructions on the website, and it says you're supposed to rub it a bit into your hands first and then put it on, and honestly it really did work perfectly. So I highly recommend this. It is very expensive, but this I would say is a sort of high-end version of the Skin Tint by Wet n Wild. So it's a bit like the IRL concealer versus the High Glam concealer by Natasha Denona. This is the high-end version with a lot more shades as compared to the Wet n Wild Skin Tint, but it is really lovely. And I'll link the video where I reviewed this properly down below for you in the description box. And finally, let's talk about lipsticks. Now, I'm not going to go on too much about the Lisa Eldridge lipsticks, the Velveteens, which are these, because I did a dedicated video on them, but I'll just quickly swatch them for you so you can see how gorgeous they are. One is Velvet Muse, the other is Velvet, oh, I've forgotten, that's Velvet Muse. This is Velvet something else. Forgotten the name of it. And there they both are. I'm so sorry, I've forgotten the name. It's Velvet Muse and Velvet Blush, that's it, Velvet Blush. They are absolutely beautiful lipsticks. And this one, now this is, I also mentioned this in my viewer suggested guide. It looks like I've got through a lot already. You can already see kind of gaps in the container. And this is the Charlotte Tilbury, which I do like very much. It does have a slightly strange smell, but it hasn't got fragrance. In fact, it smells of vanilla, very strongly of vanilla, in fact, but there aren't any vanilla derivatives in it, I don't think, because I'm allergic to that as well, actually. But I'm just not sure about the shade on me, that's all. But I really like the texture. It reminds me a lot of the Hollywood lipsticks that Charlotte Tilbury used to do a few years ago that were discontinued. But anyway, there they are. Those are my 3 current faves, and I am wearing them on repeat at the moment. And I tend to smear them on with my fingers, particularly the Lisa Eldridge's. And another rediscovered favourite, actually, which I bought last year, which is a number 7. I've forgotten the name. I've forgotten I think it's called the Stay Perfect, and it's what I've got on today. Let me just swatch it for you. Now this reminds me a lot of the Lisa Eldridge, I think it's either Sunday Matinee or what's the other one, I've forgotten now. Anyway, it's beautiful. It's kind of a bit glossy, but not too glossy. It feels lovely on the lips. You can feel it, but I really like the feel of it, and I'm glad I've rediscovered it. I bought it last summer, I think. And finally, just to mention some lip pencils that I've sort of gone off. I don't know if it's because my lips are a bit dry, but I'm just not reaching for them. And that's the Laura Mercier pencils. I only bought them earlier this year, but I'm just not very happy with them anymore. I just don't reach for them. This one is a Nars pencil. Again, bought that last summer, not loving it. And also this number 7 lip pencil. I'll just quickly swatch them for you. I mean, I love this. It reminds me so much of a kid's crayon. It's very much like a kid's crayon, isn't it? It's a nice colour. I don't know, I think it's because when I put it on my lips, it just feels kind of dry and just not very, I don't know, just not very comfortable. That's the Nars. I mean, you can see I'm in a sort of dusty rose. You can see I tend to like dusty rose colours. This is one of the Laura Merciers. They're not quite so pigmented, the Laura Merciers. Let me just pop a bit on here. There we go. They feel quite nice on the lips, but I don't know whether the pigment or the texture isn't right, but I'm just not enjoying wearing crayons on my lips anymore. So there you have it. Have I enticed you or put you off purchasing or trying any of these products? Let me know in the comments below, and let me know if you've tried any of these products and what you thought of them. And if you can't get enough of me, and who can, I've got a monthly newsletter, and the link to subscribe will be in the description box below. And in that newsletter, I don't just talk about beauty, fashion and lifestyle, but I also talk about music, books, podcasts, movies, TV, and all the other bits and bobs that make us happy. And if you've enjoyed this video, I'd be so grateful if you'd give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell so that YouTube lets you know each time I upload a video. And my schedule at the moment is every Sunday morning at 8 o'clock UK time. And if you've enjoyed this video, I'm going to pop up a couple of videos here. One is viewer suggested makeup and the other is how I glam myself up at 70. And thanks again so much for watching. It means the absolute world to me. It really does. And I hope you're all doing really well. And I look forward to seeing you on my next video. Bye.